What's good, everybody? It's Chan with Ant. We're here today with JAYSIX. Bro, it's been a while since I seen you. The last time we spoke was during the interview we did, which was a mini one during the High Ties concert. On Hope Tonight Never Ends.
Yeah.
What you been up to since then?
Shit, man. Did a lot of shows over the summer for sure. I was all over the place over the summer, just trying to touch different places and be around different artists and everything. And even went to Texas a couple weeks after we met. I was in Dallas performing at Day Summit, which was really cool. Met a lot of cool artists down there. Had a great time. And yeah, man, it's been a little while since I dropped music. I just dropped my first single like a couple weeks ago, like in a while. So I've been really focused on performing and just going out to events and stacking content, baby,
That's fire. That's fire. And what can you say? What's the difference from a Dallas crowd and a New York crowd?
Ooh, it's actually, it's interesting because I feel like I haven't been many places outside of New York, but like in Dallas, like they're just there to see somebody dope. You know what I mean? Like, and especially when you get on the mic and you're like, oh, I'm from New York, people are like, oh, whoa, like somebody like from out of state, you know what I mean? Like it definitely, it holds weight, when you leave the state. So, yeah, it was really receptive. I met a lot of great people down there, people who I'm still like talking to like on the daily, which is dope. Not just artists, but just like, friends in general.
And that's fire because I saw some previews you posted on Instagram, and the crowd was going crazy. You was walking in the crowd and everything like that. You also did that during the concert, and you had I was able to see you live perform, and you had the crowd going. There's a lot of songs that had me like, oh shit, this kid is crazy. Like your energy is just insane, bro. Like you take over the stage. The stage is literally yours.
I appreciate that, bro. I
Of course,
appreciate
bro.
that.
But before we get into your music and everything, I want people to get to at least know you and who you are. Can you give me a little bit of story of your upbringing?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised on Long Island. Spent my whole life there from ages 0 to 17, essentially. I'm from Huntington originally. So, my parents are from the city, so they kind of moved to Long Island and settled there, which a lot of people from the city do. About half my family's from the city, half is from Long Island. So I went to college at Temple University in Philly to still, be somewhat close to home, but get away. And being able to experience Philly was really cool because, another big East Coast city with a lot of similar energy to New York in a lot of ways. Yeah, man, I've just been my whole life of hip hop has been my biggest passion, and writing in particular in school is like what I was always good at. I'm definitely not a math and a science guy, so. Yeah, I ended up just putting my fandom for the culture and my passion for writing together probably when I was like 13, 14, and started like trying to write raps for the first time, like 8th grade, 9th grade, high school, and shit, man, I was in college trying to figure it out what I really wanted to do, and ultimately it took a full graduation and a little bit of work in the real world to realize that being an artist is what I really get the most fulfillment from. So I've just been focused on that and trying to build it up, man, ever since then.
And that's fire because I know before then I was doing a little research on you, and during 2013 to 2016 you was playing football and baseball, which is really cool. Around 2016 you also posted a picture of you with your friend on Logic Pro recording.
Yeah.
That shit was cool. It was just like, what was the transition from going to sports to music?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was just saying I only started writing when I was like 13, but I didn't put out a song even on just SoundCloud until I was 17 because I was always just in my notebook, like between classes, just like enjoying it just for the love of it. And I was completely fine, like just having it to me and myself. And I really just rap for my girlfriend, like every once in a while. That was really my performance per se. But yeah, always was a huge sports fan, loved sports, had ideas of trying to play in college, but eventually I was kind of like, I don't know if that's really the path I want to go down because I wasn't good enough to play D1, so I didn't know if I was going to, I didn't want to be at a smaller school like that. And yeah, around the senior year of high school is like when I, sports was kind of ending for me and I was looking for another outlet, and especially there was some shit going on, with some relationships in my life that I was deep in my notebook writing about, so it kind of felt like the right time for me to start putting out music. And a friend of mine, Sam Banks, who also makes music as well, he was the one in that picture you're talking about.
Gotcha.
He somehow got wind that I was writing raps, and he was like, yo, you should pull up like to the studio and like come hang out with us, like do a song, like type shit. So that kind of got me out of my comfort zone a little bit, and like was, started feeling comfortable to put out music. And it definitely, it picked up, and even though it was the end of senior year, like in my high school, it definitely like caught some wind. So ever since then, man, I've just been going and trying to grow, you know, as an artist.
And as you mentioned, high school was being your peak. I know I saw that one of the songs that blew up that made you want to keep on going was one of the songs that you mentioned how you said you was going through a breakup in a relationship. It was a song called give me a second, I just saw it.
I'll be impressed if you get this, because I think I know what you're talking about, bro.
Hold on. I just had it. Just moved the screen. Okay. The name of the song was called Play with Fire.
What? How did you find that, bro?
I didn't get to hear it. I just saw it. I saw like little quotes or whatever, but
I'm interested to know how you found out that name, because so here's a crazy story I'll tell a story about that song real quick. So that song, Playing with Fire, that same girlfriend who I was talking about, we had split up senior year, and then I had found out shortly after that she was seeing a very, very good friend of mine at the time. And I really didn't know how I wanted to handle it, aside from, just going, fists out type shit. But I was like, let me put this energy into a more creative outlet. And it was interesting too, because the dude who was fucking my ex-girl, we played baseball together. So we were on the baseball team, and this is like March. So like the season's right about to start. So I cooked up this little song, Playing with Fire, and pretty much just like laid into them, just kind of exposing them for the shit that they said to me, how I felt like they were moving in very mysterious ways. And yeah, man, I remember waking up, I posted it on a Thursday night, and I sent it to just my like friends in our group chat. And like, they were all like, yo, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, what, I was like, all right, cool, I got them. And then I wake up the next day and it has like 3,000 plays on SoundCloud already. Wow. I was like, oh shit. And this is like 2016. So this is like the like viral era, like on SoundCloud, like type shit. So I was like, oh my God, like, is this record about to take off? Like I had like freshmen in our high school, like walking up to me the next day who I'd never met in my life. Like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, fuck them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's funny too, because I had class with both of them the next day, fourth period class together. And bro, we all sat right next to each other, us three. I walk in, there's 3 empty seats. I'm like, they didn't show up to school the next day. So I could tell that they felt that one, you feel me? So, but to continue that story, we went out that weekend, we partied, it was mad fun. People were like playing it at house parties and shit.
That's crazy.
And then I get back to school the next week, and I get a call in my second period class, and it's my baseball coach. He called the class, and he was like, you got to come down to the office to see him. So I go down there to see him, and he was like, the first thing he says to me, he's like, you got to take it down. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, I was like, oh shit, he knows about this? And he was like, man, there's my freshman English students are walking into this class playing your song and talking about it. Like, if I know about this, the principal is going to find out about it next, and like you're going to get like suspended from school for cyberbullying and or kicked off the baseball team.
That's crazy.
So I was like, and I really thought about it. I was like, damn, it is kind of cyberbullying in a way. I was like, I did kind of, but I'm not going to say it's ever justified, but if there was ever a case for it to be justified for talking shit, that would be the time. So I wanted to keep my spot as a captain on the baseball team, and I was like, I'm just going to take it off. I'm just going to take, the message has been sent, it's been felt, I'm going to take it down. But that's crazy. I'm curious, how did you find out the name?
So I was going through all your playlists, like SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple, and then when I scrolled down to your Apple thing, it had little profile like questions, and you wrote about it and how your principal called you in and whatnot.
That's right.
So I was like, that's crazy.
That's fucking awesome, bro. Yeah, and you found a good story, bro, because I don't think I've ever even really talked about that in an interview, but I should be, because that shit it was a moment in time for sure. Yeah.
Do you think that was the song that made you be like, oh shit, I could actually be something in with music, like I could do music with this?
Yeah, it's interesting because like I'd only put out one song before that, like all time, and it was with somebody else, and it wasn't even like really my song. I was kind of like featured in it, but I did like a solid like 36 bars on it. Like it was a good amount. So people got to like see the skill set, and people are like, oh okay, like he's pretty good. But then yeah, like after that song came out, and we're all still like 17-year-olds, like, but people were like, oh dude, like you're gonna be on the radio one day, like you can really do this, like, even like friends of mine, non-friends of mine were like, bro, like I feel like I'm not just saying this, like I feel like you actually like can really flow, like I feel like you can really like be a rapper like one day, like none of us, including myself, knew what it takes at the time, you know what I mean? It's people think one moment changes your life, and there's a little bit of truth to that in some situations, but Yeah, it was cool to, like I was saying, I was just living in with me, myself, and I in my notebook up until then, and was just getting gratification from that, just getting better on my own. But then to like hear it out of other people's mouths, and for them to like see something that I wrote, and like for them to be like, "Yo, this is fucking sick!" Like that was a cool moment for me for sure. It definitely made me feel like, all right, like people are paying attention at least. You know what I mean? So yeah, for sure.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And what music were you listening to growing up that you feel shaped your sound today?
So my first favorite artist, who I probably discovered hip hop with my friends. I remember just like having sleepovers when we were in like third grade, probably like 8 years old, and like I remember hearing like the first like rap songs I remember hearing were like "Bring 'Em Out" from T.I., a bunch of just different Eminem tracks like "Lose Yourself," "My Name Is," like all the fucking big ones that an 8-year-old would be able to hear, radio, whatever. A lot of 50 Cent. Eventually just became like a huge G Unit fan. Like after that, heavy on them. All those guys, Young Buck, Lloyd Banks, like really like real rappers.
Yeah.
But I would say like as I really like understood the genre more and like started to like expose myself to different artists, I would say the 3 rappers that I at least have compared myself to, because I feel like my style is kind of a blend of like Meek, who's always my favorite rapper. Went to school in Philly because I was a huge Meek fan. Wanted to be in the North, Logic and Drake. I feel like I have, how I would describe it at times is like the up-tempo, like quick flows of like a Logic, like the aggressiveness of like a Meek, but then like the emotional like vulnerableness of like an artist like Drake. So but I try to be versatile with my sound, and like I work with a lot of different producers, and people are always sending me different type of tracks, so it's like really like whatever like I'm inspired by, like I try to like blend in a way that makes sense for myself, like over that beat.
Yeah, for sure. I also saw that you jumped onto like a house song too.
Yeah. Shout out to Beantown Boys, man.
Yeah, Beantown Boys. That shit was crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks, bro.
So as you mentioned, talking about you were listening to like real music at a young age, at the age of 8, like 50 Cent and all that. How did it feel to have a song with The Game?
Shit, man, that was a crazy moment. I think it was even crazier because when I first received that verse from him, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing in the music game. Like, I got that verse from him before I even like put out my first song on all platforms. Wow. I had like multiple songs stacked and ready to go, and I knew what my rollout was gonna be. And yeah, man, it was like you're saying, like as a hip hop fan, like I remember being in the freshman football locker room, like we're fucking banging our helmets against the locker room, like listening to Scared Now, like by Game and Meek, and like, going back into his catalog. Like obviously the documentary is a classic album. I really like the Red album too. So yeah, man, it was a really dope experience to like just hear a rapper that I grew up listening to, his voice on the same track as mine, and that was amazing, bro. And it all kind of just happened from me just like randomly shooting a shot in somebody's DM. You know what I mean? Really? Like I DM'd him and ended up working with an engineer who he was working with at the time, and is now working like pretty exclusively with Hit Boy and Surf Club out in LA. Shout out to David Strauss. Definitely like a guy who's given me a lot of pointers like about recording, just the business in general, just helping me along and like being there to like support me like as I'm at that time in the infancy stages of my career. And yeah, man, so it's like I'm glad I got the record, but I'm almost like even like more, I'm even happier that like I formed a relationship with a guy like Davis, like from something like that was literally just me sending a fucking DM that I never expected to get open, Yeah.
So. And that's insane. You just never know what opportunity is right around the corner.
For real, bro.
And it's insane. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that was one of your favorite songs you recorded?
Yeah, it's like I have songs that I like more than that, but there's something about that song, like even if I'm hanging out with people and they put it on or something like that, every time it comes on, I just get that like that feeling where I'm just like, bro, this is really gonna like, I'm gonna look back on this and be like, yo, this like, it didn't change my life, but bro, it changed the trajectory of my career. Like,
for sure.
I got exposed to a lot of people that I never would have had the chance to do that early without somebody like Game giving me that verse. So I appreciate him for that. And yeah, man, like it definitely still goes hard in the club. Don't get me wrong. I've heard it so many times at this point, but I'd put it in my top three. I'd say I'll put it in my top three.
Okay. Since you're talking about top three, I have a top like 5 or 6 songs that are one of my favorites that from your playlist ever. Which you could let me know which one you would like to talk about and we get into it.
Okay.
So my favorite songs that I heard from you was Over, Lights Out, Calling My Phone, Sativa, Different, and Rollin'.
Okay.
Which ones from those what I mentioned? Which one was the one that you would like to talk about and like it has a story to it behind it?
I'll talk about Rollin', honestly, because Rollin' has been like one of my best performing songs and is one of the ones that I've been running ads to, and I feel like is building kind of my listening audience up a lot. That one's really, I tried to create like a very specific like feeling and sound with that song, and like the reason why I'm proud of that song in particular is because I had a very like specific idea in mind of what I wanted myself to sound like, because I'm like, I'm not really like rapping, I'm kind of just like talking in like the low end of my voice. So I kind of, as I was recording it with my boy Zan at Social Media House on Long Island, I was like, yo, I want my voice to like really sound like really harsh and like bring out like really like the low end and like have it like compressed, but like at the same time like between the spaces of my vocals, like I want this reverb, because the song is about, you know, parachuting a little something and feeling spacey in the club and like kind of just seeing all these things like develop around you, like really like slow you down type shit, and then like ending up that sequence, you know, spending that moment with a woman. So I felt like I still want to do a visual to that song, because I tried to like write it in a very visual way to where you could almost be like, I feel like I'm kind of like looking at this right now. So yeah, and you know, people have just told me, they're like, yeah, I feel like that's really your tone. Like I feel like that's the sound you should like really like hammer in on. So yeah, but you picked some good ones though, some early ones too, like the whole catalog. So, and you know, there's some different ones in there too. So
for sure. And I also noticed that you mentioned you like to write and everything. You speaking about rolling, just like love to draw the picture. I saw that you also made another Instagram page called Reflective. Where did it go? I just had it right here.
Reflective Ink.
Reflective Ink, yes. And it consists of like quotes or little writings that you wrote. What was like what made you want to do that? Like,
yeah. So I started that page a little bit before I started putting out music. During the day I work at an advertising agency as a copywriter, so I'm constantly writing like just like little like one-liners, or like obviously writing bars all the time too. And there's like a correlation between the two, and it was just, for me, it was just kind of like another avenue to like get my work out there and like express myself and create like a branded like look and feel to it. I haven't posted on there in a while because it's just been all about this rap shit since. But you know, maybe in the future, as you know, my audience continues to grow, that can be like a little secondary thing for me, and just kind of, you know, people see like a little different side of like how I write, or you know, different stuff like that. So
yeah, I enjoyed looking through it. You had a lot of good stuff on it too. I'm not gonna lie. Man. I was like, oh shit, I know what you mean by that.
That's the goal. I appreciate that.
Right? No, don't do that. Another thing that I noticed is you dropped a new EP called SixTapes, and one of the songs that sticked out the most for me was Prime Suspect, which you also made a video with Bless from an SOS Films.
Yep. Shout out Bless.
Yeah, the song was crazy. The visuals was insane.
Thanks,
overall, like that was a hands down like a good project that you did.
Thank you, bro.
How did that song Prime Suspect come into play? I was gonna ask and compare it from the first song we were just talking about, Setting Fire.
Playing with Fire.
Was that like a comparison of like what you wanted to do with Prime Suspect?
I wouldn't say, not with those two. I wouldn't say those two were linked in particular. Prime Suspect kind of came to be, this is a beat that I use from my guy Jake Tompkins, who is a young producer out of Detroit, and he's super dope. Got the chance to work with him a lot. I fuck with him heavy, so I had gotten that, and like I had kind of just had the idea for that. I had the hook first of just like that. I got doubts about your motive, so I was like, I should write this whole song about me just like, you know, it's kind of just about being single and like evaluating who your options are, and who is actually worth trusting and who is kind of interested in you for the right reasons type shit. So, and then, yeah, I just had the idea for the visual kind of like based on that. I'd be like, I would be cool if I had like all of these, as I'm questioning these girls' intentions, like I should like get them in a courtroom or like put them in an interrogation room. And thankfully I found this really dope studio on Pier Space, and it had all these different rooms, man. They had the courtroom, all those rooms that you saw in the video were all in the same place,
Wow,
which is kind of crazy. So so they had a courtroom, they had the interrogation room,
The cells.
and the jail cell. Yeah, so we shot it all there. I worked with a couple of different models who were really, nice enough to join me and be part of it. And bless him, my guy Mike Reyes shot that. So yeah, man, that's another one that I've been trying to get out to the world as much as I can, and it's going pretty well so far. So.
And I noticed that as we mentioned how you would like to switch flows around, the house song called Top Floor by Beantown and the Boys. How did that song come into play? What made you want to be like, all right, I'm gonna jump on a house beat now?
So I love house music. When I was in college particularly, I would say I was like 50-50 between like rap and then like house and EDM. Like in terms of what I was listening to. Wasn't like a DJ or haven't like made house beats or anything like that, but I've heard like little snippets of like almost like house producers like sampling hip hop vocals in the past.
Yeah.
And I connected with these guys, the Beantown Boys, through a music business course that we bought.
Oh wow.
So we had just like, we had been in touch for probably like a little over a year, like before we started working on it. And I just kind of hit them up one day and was like, yo, like we should do like a collab and like a little cross genre fusion type of thing. And we were just kind of like originally just working on the beat first, trying to see like what the sound's going to be like before we go to the vocals. And we landed on the beat and sent them that back, and they're in Boston, obviously, Beantown Boys. Okay. And I got a chance to go up and visit them in the spring.
Oh wow.
When they work really fucking hard, man. It was super inspiring, like being up there, just like the DJ grind in general. Like I'm super inspired by that, like seeing how hard those guys go and like how they're outside every day, like doing something. So I got a chance to go up there, visit them, and I performed up there at like one of their big gigs at this big like northeastern bar called Two Saints Tavern. So we did that song and Too Much Noise. So that was a really fun time, man. Boston's really cool, and yeah, Joe and JD from the Beantown Boys. But check them out if you guys fuck with house music, because they actually just dropped a song yesterday called 9 to 5. My shit, bro. As soon as I slammed that laptop shot, I'm like, bro, this is what I needed to hear right now. So
I definitely gotta tap in for that.
yeah, bro.
Do you feel like there's gonna be more projects with them coming out soon or in the future?
Definitely. We have talked about doing another song together. I gotta put that into motion, I feel like, because it's something I really wanted to do, and I feel like the reception to the first collaboration was very solid. So
Sure, yeah.
and it's just a different audience of people to potentially reach too, you know what I mean? People who are house music fans might hear an artist on a song and they're like, oh, there's like really cool vocals on this, like who is this, so it has the chance to expose me to like different people. So
Nice. Another talent that I noticed is that you also know how to freestyle. I saw you freestyle on different podcasts.
Yeah, man.
But one of my favorite freestyle that you did that I found was First Quarter Freestyle with Tristan. How did that song come into play, and how did you guys meet?
yeah, so this guy Tristan Hoya is an artist from Florida, and we had followed each other a little while back, just because we both saw we were both doing this shit, and he had reached out to me about doing a song together. And he's definitely on his rap shit as well. So he just sent me, he did like 24 bars or whatever it was, like straight, and he was like, just fill in the rest of it with whatever you got. So put that together and sent it back to him, and shout out to Tristan, man, because that song has been doing well too. It's still racking in streams, which is great. And yeah, man, I love collaborating like that, because I feel like obviously the benefits of collaborating, just working with other people, like, is great, but like even just from like a numbers like standpoint, like I feel like I've even heard people say that, like, when I watch like music marketing videos to like try to figure out like how to market myself and shit, people are like, collaborations are like the greatest marketing tool you can have, because Spotify's algorithm is just going to put you in their audience and put their audience in yours, and like you guys both get to hopefully mutually gain something out of it. That is the point of getting on a song together, is to share each other's music with each other's fan bases. So Yeah, man, I'm always open to that and looking to do even more in the future.
That's fire. Another person who I saw you would collab with was Maddie Beats with the song A1, which was one of my other favorite songs. I'm not gonna lie. How did that one come into play?
Yeah, so that one's funny actually because this guy Matty Beats, I found him on TikTok like right when I started putting out music, and he had like a lot of pull on TikTok. Videos were doing super well. He had like 200,000 TikTok followers. I was like, man, this guy's killing it as a producer. I was like, he's making great content. And I did like he would be like rappers, who's got bars for this, and people would like duet it on TikTok. I must have duetted like 4 or 5 of his beats. And he commented on a couple of them, like, yo, this is fire, and like this is hard, whatever. And I was like, yeah, man, this is dope. And then like a couple months after, he DM'd me on Instagram, and he was like, yo, like, I was just checking out your music, like I really fuck with your sound, like I would love to work together. I was like, oh, that's dope, man. I was like, I'm definitely down to do something. I was like, and then I started referencing something from TikTok, and he was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, like I thought. He was like, no, like I literally just like found you on Instagram. Like I was like, that's crazy because like I duetted like a couple of your things on TikTok, and like now like you're randomly finding me on like a different platform like that. I just thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, shout out to Matty, man. I worked on that one song with him. I got another beat of his, one that I'm sitting on. Actually looking to hopefully get somebody on it to collaborate with because I do have an open on it. And he's a dope producer, dope guy. So yeah, man, that was cool to have on SixTapes for sure.
Oh, for sure. Which one from all the songs that you dropped in SixTapes was one of your favorite ones to record?
Favorite one to record? Ooh, I would say probably Big Phony Shit, just because that one was just very aggressive and high energy. I had like this thought in my mind of like putting in this quote from Robert Saleh, the Jets coach, in the middle of it, or just about like we're keeping receipts on people who we know are talking shit. So I had a fun time like putting that in and then just like getting my energy up. I remember recording that like in my bedroom at like 1:30 in the morning, just like waking everybody up. So yeah, that was probably my favorite one to record.
And do you usually record your own music as well, or do you also go to different studios?
It varies. I have like my own home setup at my apartment in Bushwick, in the basement, that I can, whenever I want to just like go down there and get ideas off, like I can do that really easily. And I'm glad I have that because I don't know what I'd do without it. But yeah, I definitely do like recording in studios too, because I like, especially if I'm working with a producer who I know in real life, and like I would love to like record it like while they're there so they can see kind of how I'm like attacking the beat, and like, we can kind of like collab on spot about like stuff we want to change, stuff that's working, whatever. So yeah, man, it varies. I've recorded on Long Island a bunch, a couple different spots in the city. So I like doing that too, because I like just working with different engineers, different producers, because different people, they have different takes on my voice, on any artist's voice, and like what they can do with it. So
okay, not bad.
Yeah.
And I saw that a new single you just dropped was High and Low, which was a very like meaningful song. Like,
sure.
I felt like you were able to share, like you said, you like to be sounding like a Drake sound, where you could show your feelings and everything. What's been going on that made you want to write that song? Because it's the title called High and Low. It's just ups and then just downs. What was the message for you to be sent out?
Yeah, so that song I really just like wanted to give more insight into like how I actually feel like when I'm like people, social media, I hear people say this all the time, social media, like we really just show our highlights and just show, oh, this is dope, this just happened to me, I just took this vacation, did this show, worked with this artist, like I'm gonna post about it on story, reels, everything. But like we don't really like post as much about like the struggles we're going through, and obviously music has always been an outlet for that, for people. So I really just like kind of like wanted to talk about like what's going inside my head, not just as I'm feeling low, but almost as like I'm trying to like hide those lows from people at times. Talking about like sometimes how like the brightest smiles like sometimes are deceiving, because those people are sometimes, they might have great energy, but there might be a whole different story that you haven't seen. So I wanted to put that out, and I still feel like I need to do a better job of marketing it so I can like get it in front of the right people, because, like you're saying, I feel like people have definitely appreciated the emotion behind it, and have, attached to it and latched onto it because it's something that they can apply to their lives too. So yeah, man, it's been going well so far, and I'm looking to keep it going because that song is definitely, means something to me.
Do you plan on making a music video for High and Low? Because I honestly feel like you could do a lot with that.
Yeah, so I shot a reel for it. It was in like this studio with just like some cool looking LED lights. And then I was shooting content for it with my guy Ethan, who is starting to work with the camera and is trying to help me out. We shot content for it actually this Tuesday. And we probably had enough clips to like do a full video. I'm not really sure yet, honestly. I think what I'm trying to do like with a lot of my songs, because I've done like a lot of music videos, so I want to like really just focus on like those more 15 to 30-second clips like in that reel format of just different parts of the song with a visual behind it, so like, you know, people can find it on TikTok shorts, reels and all that, and like really you know, break it up so it's not like a full video, but yeah, like
what you mean, yeah, like little clips.
right, stuff that you can constantly push out and reuse and all that. So,
and what do you think it's been the hardest thing as an independent artist? Like you said, it's hard to market and something like that, but what do you think you were able to master but still struggle on?
yo, low-key, one of the hardest things to do as an independent artist, and this might sound crazy, but it's literally just waking up every day and figuring out what to do. You know what I mean? Because like there's so much that you can do and there's so much that you need to do to be successful. Like you have to obviously you have to go out and perform. You should be going out to network. You should like supporting other people. You're going to be making music, obviously. You're going to be, you know, whether it's you're recording one day, you're writing one day, you're going to be making content. You're going to be talking, you know, just handling business over Instagram or email or whatever. So I would say kind of the hardest part is kind of sometimes like prioritizing, be like, what do I need to do today? Like, you know, like what's more important than like, you know, where should I be delegating my hours to? You know, especially because, you know, a lot of independent artists, including myself, have that day job as well. So it's like finding, you know, weaving that into your schedule of what you can do. But that's honestly what I've loved about TikTok so much, is because I feel like I don't need to try that hard. I can just like take my phone out of my pocket and just literally hit record and just start talking shit. Yeah. And like that's the stuff that kind of does the best for me sometimes on TikTok. So yeah, I would say it's really just like, and I know a lot of other people feel the same way. Like it's kind of just determining on a day-to-day basis, what do I need to do today? How do I prioritize? What's the most important thing? Where do I need to dump my hours into? So I think it's kind of an ever-evolving question that you ask yourself, you know, as time goes on.
And what do you think is your favorite part throughout the process? Shooting the video, writing it, recording? Like, what's your favorite thing to do?
I've really starting to like grow a love for like videography, man. Like just, you know, the whole process. And I'm even starting to think about that when I'm writing now at points where I'm like, I'm in the middle of a verse and I'm trying to think of like how a video would look around this verse, or like how I can like write something that sounds visual and then like put something to it at the same time. And like that's just like that's totally something I never did like in the past. Like even the songs where I have music videos, I just wrote the song. It wasn't like, oh, this song's gonna have a video, or like this part's gonna. So like I really enjoy that part, especially just because, you know, that's how artists are just getting discovered nowadays, is just through their content. You know what I mean? So I feel like the better I can get at creating like practical and like succinct content around my music, and like make it make sense for people and like make it dope, like I feel like that's gonna help me even more. And I'm really enjoying that part. It's like a whole different like side of the brain to like try to figure shit out with. So
not bad. And who have you met recently that you're looking forward to collab with?
So I've been working with my guy YS. He's a producer, and we just started getting a couple of joints going together, and he's got some really dope production. And we just finished up our first song together. I got a second one in the works with him right now, so I'm excited to start putting those out and you know, get him in. I'm thinking about the video too. Like I was like, yo, be in the video with me, like have these like different scenes like together. So yeah, man, I'm excited to keep that going and keep grinding with him and with, you know, with all the producers that I've been working with.
And as you mentioned before the interview, you got a few songs to roll out before the end of the year. What should we expect? What kind of sound would you be bringing?
So I'm dropping a song next week actually called Jungle Mentality. This is definitely like back on like my rap shit roots. High and Low is a lot more melodic, a lot more singing. This is just straight bars for 3 verses. I have a music video, a full video that's coming out for this as well. the song is kind of all about like being in that isolated mindset of like, you know, knowing that you can't really necessarily trust the people around you, and you're just in that jungle mentality of like, I know that there's not, danger is not the right word, but there's potentially harm around me, and I just got to be locked in on what I'm doing and like play close to the vest and like you know, don't show my cards always. So I got a little dark, spooky Halloween type of visual for that coming out on Monday the 30th. Song drops on the 25th, which is next Wednesday.
I definitely look forward to see that.
Yeah, man, should be cool. Should be cool.
And I know you also started making merch as well, hats and sweaters. What was the idea with that, and like who designed it?
Yeah, I'm actually wearing one right now, right here. This is one of my tees. Explore what you haven't. And I got the 6 right here on the side. I'm really into. I say I'm really into fashion, and then there's people who are like, okay, oh, you're on it. But I enjoy, you know, figuring out what I'm gonna wear on a daily basis, and you know, there are actually like some certain like styles, like even like something as simple as this, like with the acid wash, that like I really like fuck with, and like I can't like always find in a store when I go into. So I'm like, and I start feeling that way even more and more, especially as my style like changes and shit like that. You know, some things I'm like, oh, I have like an idea for that, but I don't really see it anywhere, even with like color blocking on a sweatshirt or like, you know, stuff like that. So that's like a whole different business in itself, which I learned very quick. I was able to get my store up and have a bunch of products on there for people to see and buy if they want, but now I just got to figure out how to sell it. You know what I mean? Because it's out there, but like I haven't really
pushed it on that too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's something I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to doing even more in the future.
Not bad. And how did you get the name JAYSIX? What does the 6 stand for you?
Yeah, so those were honestly my 2 nicknames when I was in high school. My friends would just call me Jay or call me Six, so I just put them together. I was wearing 6 when I was playing ball, and that honestly just came from LeBron because I was a huge LeBron fan growing up. So I was, you know, I had the 6 on my Instagram. I was wearing it in sports. You know, anytime there was me, I would be like, nah, 6 is my number. So yeah, just kind of put them together. And I always, growing up too, I always liked like one word rap names, like Drake or Future or Logic. Like I just like the one word. There was something about that I was like, cool. So I was like J6. Like it's just I make it as one word. People break them up sometimes, but yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Okay, and no, as we mentioned about the game, he was one of the iconic artists that you were growing up listening to. Who would you like to do another song with if you had the chance to?
Man, I would love to get the chance to work with Meek one day. Meek is just, you know, just seeing like his evolution as an artist, like from the first time I started listening to him, like 7th grade, like slamming on the lunch table, bumping DC2, you know what I mean? Like all the DC mixtapes. To, you know, seeing like how he's evolved with just like impacting not only his community, but just like America in general with like prison reform and everything that they've done. You know, him, Hove, and Robert Kraft, fucking power trio that I don't think the world ever saw coming, and Michael Rubin too, which is, you know, super inspiring. And, you know, Meek's an East Coast guy, and that song that him and Ross just dropped recently, Shaq and Kobe, banger. And
crazy.
Bro, they are 2 of my 5 favorite rappers of all time, easily. So to see them putting out a joint project soon is fucking music to my ears. I used to fucking draw the double MG logos in my fucking notebooks like all the time. I love Wale too. So yeah, man, if I ever got the chance to work with a guy like Meek one day, it was some real aggressive East Coast energy. I know that much. So.
Not bad. And is there anyone you would like to shout out?
Man, I just want to shout out everybody who's been supporting me, honestly. Whether it's people who know me in real life or people who were fans of the music through social media and everything like that. Like I'm really trying to like build this community up as much as I can, and like have that relationship with my fans and people who are actually listening to my music, and like let them hear from me as much as possible. And you know, there's the thing about putting out music, especially doing it as a career, is that it's not, you don't wake up every day needing to listen to somebody's music like you need water or you need food or you need so it's that we're selling a product that people don't need to survive. So when people go out of their way to put time and money and, you know, their energy into me to support me, like that really is extremely gratifying. And I was in Philly 2 weekends ago, so I saw a bunch of like my old college friends, and just like seeing people kind of come up to me, like shout out my boy Connor Barton, who was just like, he was like, yo, man, like, I've just what you say about like corporate America and like how, you know, how you expose it and like how you're still doing it, but you're still doing like your side hustle. Like, it's inspired me to like get back into my side hustle. And like, you know, seeing like that shit like really like means a lot to me because, you know, I started writing music because I enjoyed it. But like now seeing that like not only my music but my content is having an impact on people, like that just makes me want to go 10 times harder because, you know, having that reach is a beautiful fucking thing. And I feel like I'm doing something that's a lot more meaningful and it's making a lot more impact doing this than I will ever be in advertising. Real talk. So I want to just continue on that, and just continue to try to reach new people and touch new people and you know, hopefully give them something that's, you know, that they can hold value with in their lives.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself not working a job. That is my goal. And doing this every day, man. Like I don't plan on leaving New York. This is my home. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't mind having a second place somewhere down the road. Maybe not 5 years from now, maybe a little past that. But yeah, man, I see myself still in New York. I don't know if on the city or the island, but I picture myself here. You know, hopefully an artist that's recognized in New York and that, you know, is putting on for the city and putting on for Long Island. And, you know, just doing this every day, hopefully, because I feel like the day where, and I don't mean to make this sound like an excuse or anything, but like the day where I leave my job behind, I feel like I'm just going to get even better as an artist. Like the one day where I wake up and I can just focus on making content and making music. Like I feel like my head will just be so much more clear. I'll just be able to like really put all my energy back into the music and back into my brand. So I'm hoping to not have the day job in less than 5 years, but I'm also trying to be realistic with this and know that you know, the only way it's going to sustain is if we're bringing in money and bringing in fans. So got a lot of work to do still.
You definitely got a lot of potential, but I'm not gonna lie. Listening to your music, I was like, oh shit, like I can't wait for this interview to go down, especially the first one, because bro, when they watch the interview and they go back and listen to the music I mentioned, like my top songs, they're gonna be like, oh shit, I know what he was talking about. Like honestly, bro, you got a lot coming your way for sure, especially having a future with the game. That speaks a lot for yourself, even if it was your first few songs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Definitely don't give up, and for sure, I definitely want to see you in 5 years. You leave your job and just in the studio vibing. Yeah, exactly. Because I know you got a line in you, bro, for sure.
I appreciate that, man.
For sure.
I appreciate that.
So thank you again, bro, for coming out here to the island. Mm-hmm. It was an honor to talk to you, JAYSIX, because honestly, thank you, bro. I learned a lot about you, and there's definitely going to be more work in the future with me and you.
No doubt.
If you could drop your Instagram, Facebook, all that, Apple Music, everything where they could find you.
Yeah, so I'm on all streaming platforms. JAYSIX is my artist name, JAYSIX. It's one word. And then on Instagram, TikTok, it's at J6_musica. Trying to think of what else. Got a Facebook page rolling, same thing, JAYSIX, one word. My YouTube is the same thing, it's just JAYSIX. I'm on all streaming platforms, man. I got 28 songs out with a lot more coming. I think seven or eight music videos on my YouTube with a lot more coming. So yeah, man, I'm just trying to be consistent and put out great content for people and building up the community, bro. That's really like what it's all about. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely you gotta catch one of his shows, and if you can't, definitely check his YouTube page because there's definitely one of him performing. I think it was in Dallas, the one that you dropped recently. Yeah, right? Yeah. You could definitely see that energy. I'm telling you, bro. That shit was crazy. Yeah. Is there any shows coming up?
Yeah, actually, I got a couple. So today's the 21st.
Yes.
Today's the 21st. Okay, so I got a show next Saturday, in Holbrook on Long Island. I'll be out there on Saturday night. Okay. And then November 9th, I am doing a showcase with a bunch of other artists somewhere in Manhattan. I'm not sure on the exact location yet, but it will be in Manhattan. And that one's going to be really cool because that's major record label showcase, if anybody's ever heard of that. So it's like Drewski from Hot 97, Gabe from On the Radar is going to be there, you know, label executives. But you know, it's cool to be outside and like perform in front of like the real heavy hitters like of New York City, you know what I mean? Like I always value that opportunity. So I'm gonna be doing that on the 9th, and then November 11th I will be back on Long Island at Social Media House performing. That one is going to be starting around 8 o'clock. That's in Deer Park, if you guys don't know where Social Media House is. So I'm going to be doing that on Saturday, November 11th. And that's all that's on the books right now, but things are known to change. So might be another one popping up. You never know.
Sounds good. Thank you once again for coming on, bro.
Yeah, my guy.
For sure, bro.
Appreciate you,
Thank
bro.
you. And stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned for his live performance.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.